Hi, and welcome to Classic Car Cave. A quick thank you to so many people that sent me a message about this troll thing. Normally it's not something that bothers me. I'll just either remove it or ban them or whatever if they're continuous. But it's something that doesn't normally get to me. But you know, there's some days when you just kind of had it up to there. And the other night was a typical example of that. We've been very busy, Amir and myself. We've put in some really solid days on trying to get this Citroen running under its own power, because it's important to be able to move it around on and off the ramp whenever we want, because of other projects that I've got on. But again, I want to thank everybody very much for your support, particularly the guys that have been with me for such a long period of time, and there's so many, too numerous to mention. But I really appreciate your support and your comments, and I have no issues with anybody who has advice and help. This is why I do YouTube. I see it as an information exchange rather than entertainment as such. It's entertainment if you're into this kind of thing, but I see it as I said, as more of an information exchange. And I got such a lot of help with my E-Type Jaguar when I started it, that I thought I'd try and put something back in, and but I really appreciate it.
Okay, this is Friday now, and we're trying to get some brakes on it. So we've managed to get brakes on the front. We've got all the adjusters working now. Made up some new cables. Amir sandblasted these outer ones. I'll have to get a special grease nipple for these, because all the front steering's the same type of grease nipple. But they're now working and operating on the cables. Okay, this is just a rig up at the moment because everything's got to come off anyway. But it works. When you push on the brake, it works. And we can adjust this with a central adjuster to bring it in if we need to, or get some more adjustment there with the cable. So, but it seems to work. So we're just adjusting up the front ones now. And Amir's made up a little idea he's come up with. You can see he's just doing the adjuster there. And he's come up with a little idea here of using this union. That's a brake union, so it's brass, so that might be a shear point on it. But what he's done is he's soldered the ends, or welded the ends. Have you welded it? Welded it. So he's welded it so there's a nipple inside each one of these. But as I said, we can use a long wire adjuster if we need to, with a left and right hand thread on it to adjust it. So you can see, obviously there's too much slack in that, but it works. All we need to do is to be able to move the chassis around, because obviously, like I said, I need the ramp. So the next thing, I've been working on this back piece now. Unfortunately, there was not one, you can see these keyways here, there was no bar in either of them, so the wheels were running free. So what I did was I went down to my local scrapyard and got some square bar that was 10mm, and we checked this with a micrometer, with a God, my memory, with the calipers, digital calipers, and it was just on 10mm. So what I did was then is I've cut it to size, and then just given it quite shave off where the mill surface is on it, you know, the grey milling surface, and now they fit really nice. But what I've got to do now is clean out these. I've done it on the other side already, so I'll clean this groove out. We had to make this washer because there was no washer on it, and there was no nut. Somebody put a pair of mold grips on it. So we're down one nut. Again, we'll clean this inside as well, and I'll show you how it looks on the other side. So this is it put together now, and you can see if I take this off, I just need another nut, but it's a coarse thread, so I'll have to find one. So we made both these washers, and you can see the keyway in there now, and the hub comes off really easy now. So they were just freewheeling on the shafts, on the aft shafts. So, but what we have found is that I have these brand new handbrake cables, and you can see the normal type grease nipple on them. So what we're going to do is, fortunately they fit perfectly. This end, the adjustment end is good, and they're brand new. They're for an XK, but they're for not my particular XK. They were for the later models, so it was the wrong order. but it turns out they're going to work perfect. The clevises are perfect and everything. So what we're going to do now is find a tubular that will fit over there, and then weld it to the back of the to the back plate at an angle. Obviously, we'll make a plate for it so it can bolt on and off. This will then hold this. Then all we need is a clip for the other end to allow the spring to be pushed up onto the back brakes. But we don't need back brakes right now. We just need to be able to move it reasonably safely. And with the front brakes, we should be good. So we've lubricated everything up, so we can have a seat. You can see it pivot in here. It's not great, but it's working. I don't know. Does that one actually? Yeah. Okay. So you know, I think we can get it off safely. That's the main thing. So what we'll do is we have to sort this gear stick out. Somebody's been really badly bent. We'll have to heat it and straighten it to where we need to be. We'll try and find some kind of seat so that we can at least move it realistically. All that selector fork's been cleaned out now. That was absolutely jammed to the top. And we need to do something about the steering wheel here. What I'm thinking is just cut it back and just weld a bit of rod on it just now, so we can just move it. Obviously the wheel's knackered, you can see. It's so badly corroded, it's shattered. So yeah, a couple of quick things. We've had to put these wheels back onto the front. We didn't realise, we thought we could put the ones that were on the back on the front. But the reason they've done it, I was calling these guys, I can see why they've done it, but it doesn't excuse the welding. The reason is that steering rod there is actually hitting the tyre, and this is why it has to be that far out. Yeah. So if you put these ones on, it catches the tyre, and that's why we've put them back on. But everything's we've got all the nuts and made all the blocks up for them, so that's all fine. The brakes work. Yeah. So that's the reason they've done it, but it doesn't excuse the way they've cut and welded them. I mean, it's bloody awful. But I guess what it was it was the only tyres and wheels they had, so they just made whatever they could to get it rolling, because obviously there was no tyres on the rims that we've got. I have to check that they do actually fit properly. Okay, so the next thing is now we need to be able to drive it and steer it. But as you can see, the steering wheel's just disintegrated. There's bits of it everywhere. That's part of it there. It's absolutely rotten right the way through. And yeah, there's what's left of it, unfortunately. But it was just so badly corroded, it just snapped. You can see it snapped off. So we now have to try and back this off and see if we can find a wheel that will make it work. And then once we do that, we'll work out if we can make up a seat, piece of wood or whatever, just so we can actually move it. And we'll go from there. We'll let you see if we can move it. That radiator's in extremely good condition. I don't know if that's original, it seems not, but it's in hell of a good condition. Unbelievable, or maybe it's reconditioned. Anyway, we made a couple of brackets, they're not on yet, but that's where they're going to sit, just to hold the radiator in place. And we'll just make up a hose here from the water pump down onto the bottom of the radiator, and then I'll bolt them on these brackets. It'll do. And we managed to get the old steering wheel off, so we've used this Cobra seat again and made up so we can drive it, because it's a big heavy thing to push around. The gear stick's a bit of a problem. 1 and 2 we can find. It only seems like it's got 3 gears and a reverse on it, but that's no problem. But we can use the pedals. The solenoid still works here, and we ended up putting a mini steering wheel on it. It's aluminium in the emboss of the steering wheel, so we actually tapered it. It's on a tapered keyway, but it works okay. You can see it's steering the car. So that'll do the job to get to move it around. The test pilot is ready. Chuck Yeager,
I need the helmet.
helmet and goggles. So what we've come up with is we've made the brackets up. They're not particularly great, but they'll do the job. Radiator's full of water. We've made the linkage up here. This is the original from it, and we just made this plate up with 2 exhaust clamps on it. This is the solenoid here which starts it, so he's going to give it a start, see if it will run. So here we go. Was the handbrake jammed? Just get it down slow. You can't go very quickly just round the front because them wheels are, look how bad they're turning. They're on at an angle. Okay. Down you come. Okay. Okay. Come on then. No problem. Yeah, no problem. Oh Jesus, he's some boy. It was a bit hard to find the gears on it. Let's found the reverse now at least. Fucking belting down here a bit. That's third. Yeah, I think so. We'll put it in. Is that first?